Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I do not know where you're joining me from, but welcome to Talk to Me Africa today. Today is very unique because health is what we all care about. And so on Talk to Me Africa today, I want to talk about health. All right, specifically your weight. I don't know much about that. It's a topic I have researched so much about, but there seems to be new information all the time. And Dr. Takem is here today to tell us a lot more about what we eat, how we should eat, how we can maintain our weight, how we can lose weight, and how we can be healthy. So please join us. You can put your comments, ask questions. You have the expert here today. Let me introduce my guest to you. Dr. Takem is a board-certified physician who specializes in internal and obesity medicine. He is the founder of Maryland Primary Care and Wellness, where he offers a comprehensive weight loss program. Dr. Takem, you have had a personal struggle and experience with weight loss. You successfully lost 40 pounds through a self-developed program. You are author of Intentional Weight Loss, your 5-step guide to transform your body and recapture your glow. The book you see right next to him, a copy of which I also have here today. This book tells us how to lose and sustain our weight. The book emphasizes removing limiting beliefs, maintaining a healthy kitchen environment. That touched me. A healthy kitchen environment and focusing on low-calorie foods rather than fad diets. Welcome to Talk to Me Africa, Dr. Takem.
Thanks for having me, Mabel. It's a pleasure. You gave a very succinct description of the book, much better than I would have thought done myself. So thank you for doing that. But it's a pleasure to meet you and your viewers today.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start by reading a quote from your book,
Okay.
from my personal weight loss journey. You say, when you think of doctors, nutritionists, or other healthcare providers, most people conjure this image of healthy, fit individuals. They are healthcare providers, so they should be healthy and fit themselves, right? You would think
Yes.
so. And then you say, I'm sorry to say that, but that's not always truth. Just like everyone else, physicians and healthcare providers are human. We have health concerns too, and many healthcare providers are overweight and obese. Wow. Wow. So my first question would be, tell us about your own weight loss struggles.
Well, yes, that quote is born out of a lot of experience because a lot of patients, I'm pretty sure amongst your viewers, there are many people who've gone to a doctor and, they've taken one look at the doctor and the doctor is explaining to them how they should lose weight in order to improve their overall health, maybe improve treatment of diabetes and high blood pressure. And all the time they're staring at him saying, I think you should take your own advice first, before you tell me. That's common, and patients have told me that. And maybe they must have said that about me in the past too.
Mhm.
But I was in a similar situation. When I went to medical school in Italy,
Mhm.
University of Bologna, I always have to remind everybody it's the oldest university in the world. It was founded in 1088 AD. And as I always say, it, America will not be founded for another 700 years. So shout out to University of Bologna.
Absolutely.
And so when I left Italy and came to the US,
Mhm.
I was a pretty regular guy. I weighed about 78 kilograms. That's about 180 pounds,
Mhm.
thereabout. And, and so living in America, I gained weight like most people do. All you have to do is compare the way we eat in America and the way people eat, especially in Europe, in Western Europe, to see why you tend to gain weight when you come to the US. So I gained quite a bit of weight. It was 46 pounds. So by the time I was in residency, in my second year in residency, I weighed somewhere around 226 pounds. And I my blood pressure was also high. So I had to see one of my attendings, Dr. Nilesh Patel. At the time, I went to see him, because had high blood pressure. And he put me on a pill, which I was taking. And fast forward 2 years after I graduated from residency, and then I'm sitting working in this hospital, and I leave to go to work the day I was, that same morning, and I noticed that my lips were swollen,
Mm.
and I brushed it off. That I don't know, maybe an insect bit me while I was sleeping, and I had my lip was swollen. So
Mm-hmm.
driving to work, I noticed my tongue was also getting swollen.
Whoa.
So when I got to the hospital and I walked into the physician lounge, one of my colleagues was there, looked at me and said, "Dude, what's wrong with your face?" I'm like, "Nothing." It's like, "Well, have you looked yourself in the mirror?" So I went into the bathroom, and lo and behold, my lips were super swollen and my tongue was itching, was very swollen. So, well, I had a lot of patients to see that day. I did the wrong thing. I did not go to the emergency room, which is what I advise my patients to do. But I was in the hospital. So I went to the ICU and talked to one of the attendings and told him, listen, if push comes to shove and you need to intubate me, go ahead and do it. I'm going to be in the hospital. I didn't look very nice, with a swollen lip or swollen lips and a swollen tongue. I couldn't talk right. But that reaction is something called angioedema. It is a side effect of a class of medications called ACE inhibitors or ARBs. Um, some people, and I've seen many patients have that, but it's very rare. But you can have it if you're taking these medications for blood pressure. It can be a life threatening condition because we don't really have any effective treatment for it. It's one of those things you either watch it and it gets better or it deteriorates and patient needs to have a secondary airway, like either being intubated or have an accessory airway through the trachea. But thank God it did not devolve into that. I was able to be observed in the hospital and then eventually the swelling went down. But this was sort of um, a changing point for me. It was what I call in my book, my enough is enough moment.
Yeah.
Because I did understand that, my blood pressure, I had high blood pressure at that point in my 30s because of an unhealthy lifestyle. Like everybody, even though I'm a doctor, I knew what the effects of obesity or the adverse effects of obesity, but
Mhm.
I knew it, but I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I still went to dinner, still had happy hours, and
Yeah.
uh, did not exercise regularly. And so I was sitting on an extra 46 pounds that my body was not supposed to have. And I suffered the consequences. And so that led me to a change. And I decided to start eating right to reverse high blood pressure. That was my fundamental goal. But the secondary goal was and I brought this suit to the US with me. It's the suit I wore when I graduated. I love suits. And so when I graduated from medical school, I had this beautiful suit
Mhm.
that I never could wear after I came to the US. And it was quite embarrassing. And so I set that as my, secondary goal to get back into that suit. And so devised, that is where my medical training came into effect. I devised a dietary program for myself and an exercise program for myself. And it took me about 6 weeks and I was down 26 pounds. Now, I
Yeah.
will not advise this for everybody, but I am a little bit I'm one of those people that when I want to do something, I become a little obsessive about it, as my friends and family tell me.
Mhm.
And so I worked hard so much that I broke my elliptical and and my exercise bike along the way. But my diet was also on point. I ate less than 1,000 calories every day for 6 weeks. And I also found out that there are many ways to eat 1,000 calories that will be satisfying. But anyways, so after I lost the 26 pounds, and then I, stayed with the plan
Mhm.
and went down to 180 pounds, which was in the ballpark where I was when I came to the US. And at that point, I could fit in my suit again.
Yeah,
And it's
victory.
a major achievement for me at the time.
Yeah.
And of course, I know we'll talk about the book some more,
Mhm.
but I also started, working out because, you know, I just didn't want to be a skinny guy. I also wanted to work out and have a relatively good amount of muscle, you know. So I started lifting weights and all of that, and then here we are today.
Very inspiring, I tell you, because you're right. Sometimes you go to the hospital for your own healthcare
Yeah.
situation. You find a doctor who's like, okay, and then they're telling you. I went to a doctor one time and he said, "Do you want to talk about your weight?" I go, "No," because I was looking at somebody who to talk about their weight. And I had had a baby who was almost a year old. I knew that it was time for me to lose the weight. But I was like, no, thank you. Because I wasn't inspired by that doctor. So
Yes.
if we meet a doctor who is already inspiring in the way they look and in the things they do, then you're open more to talk to them about that situation that you're also facing. Because, when I relate with you on that same level, then
Yeah.
I can easily talk to you about my situation. So what do you do today to maintain the weight? How long has it been?
Well, the story I was telling you was 8 years. Well, no, more than that. It was 10 years, 9 years ago. That was
Mm-hmm.
2013. Um, well, what you do to maintain your weight is really the same things you do to lose the weight. And I always
Mm-hmm.
tell my patients, that it's harder to maintain your weight than to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Because weight loss is usually when you're trying to lose weight, it's an active process. You're getting on the scale, you're
Mm-hmm.
watching your diet, you're exercising, you're doing all these things, and it's active. Now, when you get to your goal weight, it becomes a passive process, right? Uh, you're maintaining your weight, but most people don't treat it as an
Mm-hmm.
active process. They assume that, once I get there, I just have to, I'll just go back to living my life.
Yeah.
Yes. So the way I try and maintain my weight is by aggressively monitoring my caloric intake. I'm always on a low calorie diet. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell
So
myself.
it's a constant for you. It's a lifestyle then.
It is a lifestyle. I always limit the amount of carbohydrates I eat. I eat primarily high protein diet. Um, and I do have an exercise regimen. Because of my work hours, my clinic hours, I wake up 5:30 in the morning, 6 workout before going to work, Monday through Friday. Some days, I might not, but if I don't work out a weekday, I make it up on the weekend. But
Mhm.
for the most part, I work my life around the fact that I have to be up at 5:30 or 6 to work out.
That's awesome. Now, when I read this book, right, it focuses, even at the back, you say that um in intentional weight loss, your 5-step guide to transform your body and recapture your glow. Dr. Takem shows you his 5-step system to making the lifestyle changes necessary to not only lose weight, but to successfully maintain your weight. Now, there was a sentence I wanted to ask you a question about. You talk about women. You say in your years of experience, you've given um how women can be more successful in reaching their weight loss goals. Now, this book seems to talk a lot more to women about how to lose their weight. Do men and women lose weight and maintain weight differently? Does it matter if I'm a man, I lose weight different from a woman? Is it the same?
That's an excellent question. So women let's go back biologically.
Mm-hmm.
Men have a biologic advantage when it comes to weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Lose weight. It's easier for men to lose weight. And I say this very cautiously because there are men who struggle with weight loss. But by and large, and for a few reasons. Number one, Men have more muscle mass than women.
Mm.
So they tend to have a higher resting metabolic rate than women because if you have more muscle mass, you tend to burn more calories at baseline than women.
Mm-hmm.
Women, therefore, if they have less muscle mass, they tend to have more fat than men, right? And then the second thing is women also experience menopause, which men don't, even though some people there's, well, we won't get into andropause and all of that, but the vast majority of men never experience any drop in their hormone levels, their
Mm.
testosterone levels, even though some men have low T, but it's not, what we know that women at some point in their ages, in their 40s and 50s, have menopause.
Yeah.
Their hormones drop, estrogen levels drop dramatically, and they experience, the symptoms related to menopause. One of those symptoms is unexpected weight gain. A lot
Mm.
of people complain that, I've been eating the same way I've been eating
Yeah.
and I was maintaining my weight, and now all of a sudden I'm gaining weight. The drop in estrogen levels can cause changes in appetite in women. The drop in estrogen levels can cause women to tend to accumulate more abdominal fat, visceral fat. The drop in estrogen levels can slow down your metabolism. So what you used to eat
Mm-hmm.
before and were able to maintain your weight, now all of a sudden it's too much. You're eating more,
Yeah.
gaining weight.
After 40, something goes wrong.
Exactly. And so that is, that is really the main reason why women tend to have more issues with weight than men. But in America, if you look at population studies,
Mm-hmm.
obesity afflicts men and women with very similar numbers.
Yeah.
The problem is that women have a slightly harder time losing weight than men.
Mm. So what are the parameters that are used to define a person as obese, as overweight? Why?
Okay.
I mean, because some people you're like, you're not fat, but you're fat, you're tall. It doesn't show because you're tall. So what are the parameters that define people's weight?
Okay, yeah, we just generally say in the weight loss industry that tall people get away with murder when it comes.
Exactly. I agree.
They do because it doesn't look. When you're taller, you can hide it better. But we go by the medical definitions. We go by first a normal weight, right? It's a body mass index, and by the way, body mass index is basically the ratio of your weight divided by the square root of your height. And so this number for normal is between 19 and 24.9. So if you're anywhere between those numbers, you're considered to have a normal weight. Below 19, it's considered underweight, right? And between 25 and 29.9, it's considered overweight. And if you have a body mass index 30 and from 30 to 39, it's considered obese. And 40 and above is considered morbidly obese. So those are the working definitions we go by. Um, Now, I get a lot of questions, especially from my Black patients or African American, but Black patients in general,
Mhm.
that the BMI doesn't really apply to us Black folks and all of that.
I think
Wrong.
it needs to be revised, doctor. When was this done? Like in the 1920s?
Well, that is really not the case because if you think about it, it's just a ratio, right,
Hmm.
of your weight to your height, the square root of the height. So it doesn't involve. There is no, religion doesn't involve race, ethnicity, sex, gender, any of that. Now the only people for whom there are classes of people for whom the BMI, the body mass index, can be overestimated. If you are a bodybuilder, for instance, right, you are 5'10" and you weigh 300 pounds, and you are a bodybuilder, anybody, your body mass index might be 34. But anybody takes a look at you and knows, yeah, that's mostly muscle.
Muscles, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure you know somebody who's 5'10", weighs 300 pounds, and you take a look at them and say, that's not muscle. We know what,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so but the BMI does not really have, that I'm aware of at least, you know,
Hmm.
racial connotations.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't blame people who ask that question because if you look at Chinese people, for example, they're
Mm.
all thin, tiny people, but I have a question coming up about, race, genetics, and weight loss. But my next question to follow up what you just talked about is it easier to treat an overweight person or an underweight person? Where is it better for me to be overweight or underweight?
Um, well, generally, it is underweight. Now, it is not an either or answer.
Mm,
The best thing would be to have a normal weight, of course.
okay.
I cannot say it's better to be underweight than
Mm-hmm.
overweight. Ideally, you should have a normal weight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, between the two, what would you prefer?
Mm,
Maybe under. Some people say, if I'm underweight, if my body mass index 17, I look sick. And
mm,
yeah, indeed, for that person, they should eat more.
mm-hmm.
And, some people don't like themselves being overweight, and
Mm,
that person should lose weight. So the question between should I be underweight or overweight, the answer is you should be a normal weight.
mm,
That would be ideal.
mm.
Either extreme is not ideal.
Hmm. I mean, you talk about what we should do when we want to start taking care of our weight in this book. I mean, it's a long time I read the book and I had all these post-its on there because this one is so good that I don't know what page not to bookmark. I tell you. But a question for you that I got from this book would be for people to understand. Before you get the book, this book is on Amazon. It is so good. It is the stories you tell in this book, and my favorite is the worksheet. I began using it myself. The worksheets are so good to follow. It
Mm.
is good, but a lot to come on this book. What should people take into consideration when defining their weight loss? I mean, I look at me, I go, okay, I'm all right. But maybe to a health practitioner like yourself, be like, okay, I need to lose like 10, 20 pounds. What should people take you know, into into consideration before they start losing weight? What should I decide? What determination should I make? I just don't wake up. I want to lose weight. What should
Okay.
I determine?
Which, by the way, you ask fantastic questions.
Thank you.
And these are a lot of the things that, patients ask me all the time because,
Yeah.
40% of my practice every day
Mm-hmm.
is weight management. So what I tell my patients is you have to have two weight loss goals in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I talk about short-term goals and long-term goals,
Yeah.
but I put a little twist to this. And I always tell my patients, the first, if you ask me, people ask me all the time, what is my ideal weight? There are two ideal weights. There is you, Mabel, your ideal weight, where you see yourself, right? How you look at yourself, how the picture you want when you wear a certain dress,
Mm-hmm.
but and that is unique to everybody. Some people like themselves very skinny. Some people
Yeah.
don't like themselves very skinny. Some people like
Mm-hmm.
themselves more,
Chubby.
voluptuous,
Mm-hmm.
chubby, or I don't know what the word is. So it really depends. And then you have the ideal medical weight, right? Now you're For a physician like myself, my preference would be for anybody's body mass index to be less than 24.9 or between 19 and 24.9, which is considered normal.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't live in an ideal world, right?
No.
Even the real
Thank
world.
God.
These are not experimental conditions. We live in a world where people, you know, make choices.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I always start with is what is your ideal weight? Where do
Mm-hmm.
you want to get to? Where do you feel comfortable? And then if the patient gets there, we now talk about your medical weight. Is that something you're
Okay.
concerned about? Should we get to what is ideal medically? Now, that also factors in if somebody has diabetes, if they have
Mm-hmm.
cholesterol problems, if they have high blood pressure. if they have osteoarthritis, their knees hurt all the time, their back hurts. So if you have all these comorbid conditions, you probably want your weight to be back to normal. If you have
Mm-hmm.
sleep apnea and you snore a lot at night and your spouse is pushing you off the bed because she can't sleep or he can't sleep, then you probably want to lose weight and get down to your um, to an ideal weight and see if these problems are resolved. So it depends. So I
That's
always think
good.
about your ideal
Yeah.
weight for you and the ideal
The
medical weight.
medical weight. Oh, that's good to know. Yes, I really like that. Your ideal weight for you, the way you feel, and your medical weight. So in this book, you talk about reserve a part of the fridge for your own foods.
Yes.
Yet the eyes would see the food in the fridge, right? Because this book is good. You talk about how we should put our food in the fridge. I have a household of 5 people. You say, okay, I want to lose weight. This part of the fridge is my part. I have to have my healthy foods in there. And when I go open the fridge, I see the unhealthy foods. My eyes see that cake. My eyes see that donut. My hand wants to get it. How do I train my brain to only look at that part of the fridge, which is my healthy part in my own food? How do you do that?
Okay, great question. So if you remember, a few paragraphs later, I talk about if the food is not good for you, if you've separated the refrigerator, the top
Yeah.
shelf is for you and the others for your
Yeah.
husband, your children, or your brother and your sister. If you are in charge of that refrigerator
Mm-hmm.
and you have made the conscious decision that the top shelf will be the healthy stuff for you,
Mm-hmm.
if you have any control over the other four shelves, they too should not be eating that stuff. You
Right.
know, that's where you exercise your executive power. If
Mm-hmm.
you're the one doing grocery shopping, don't buy it.
Mm.
If you're the one in charge of cooking, don't cook it. You know what I mean? Now, the top shelf, yeah, you can separate the refrigerator and keep your stuff, but that is a suggestion. You make a good point. Your eyes will still wander
Yeah.
towards, you know, the delicious junk food that will make you gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the part I talk about, the purge, has to happen.
Yes.
You have to
Yes.
purge your house of all these things.
Yeah. You have to. You absolutely have to. I mean, it's hard. Like in my household, I have 2 children who raising African children is easier until they start going to school, start
Mhm.
tasting the school food. And
Yeah.
they come home, your eru is no longer what they like to eat. My daughter used to eat okra soup and fufu until she started going to school. I'm like, what happened? To the point where when I'm cooking and I put my crayfish, she goes, Mom, what is that? You used to eat this. So it is hard to really, you know, have them continue with that habit, but we keep trying. Now, that takes me straight into African foods. So
Yeah.
African foods are a lot carb based. Before I ask you my question, when I advertise this show, somebody asked me on Facebook that, are you saying that African foods make us fat? And I
Mhm.
said, not necessarily, but I think that most weight loss programs fail to mention African foods in detail. So Dr. Takem will be here today to help us understand what African foods that we can eat if we want to lose weight or to maintain our weight. I hope I gave a good answer to that person.
Yes, you did. You did.
All right. So
Uh,
my question is, what
uh-huh.
are some African or Cameroonian foods that we could depend on if we want to lose weight or maintain weight? I mean, you're from Cameroon.
Mm.
Fufu, cassava, plantain, cocoa, rice, all those starchy foods are what we eat. So if I want to stay on my Cameroonian diet, what should I eat?
Okay. So that is a fantastic question. And I think we covered a lot of this in the when I did the podcast about how to lose weight on an African
You
diet.
did, yeah.
And that was one of my favorite all-time
It
topics.
was wonderful. All the oil and the red oils came up out.
And just as an infomercial here, I did mention there, and it's actually completely done now, just maybe one or two typos. I have a booklet where I've put in all African, not all African meals, but the separate divided African meals into different macronutrients and with their caloric counts and a 30-day meal plan, they help
Mm-hmm.
to lose weight, and it's going to be available for, Facebook subscribers to my Facebook channel.
Absolutely.
But so there is help on the way, so don't
Mm.
despair.
Please, yes, we need that.
There's no, there's help on the way because it's a question I've been getting for 10 years
Okay.
when I
All
finally
right.
do
So
this.
please subscribe, Dr. Takem, so you can get that book. Because I follow you, I subscribe. I want to know everything about food because I tell you, after you pass the age of 40, it's tough
Mhm.
for women to keep this weight going. So most African foods are not packaged with the nutritive details that we have,
Yeah.
measurement of sugar, how much sugar is added, how much value of this. How can someone who eats mostly African food count the amount of sugar, of calories that they
Mhm.
take
Okay.
on an African diet?
Okay. So the biggest issue now, it is true that we don't have a lot of African foods are not, they're not, you don't have the nutritional value of the,
Mm-hmm.
when you're about to eat them. But what I explain to my patients and all, other people who follow me on social media is that African foods are the same as Western foods. They are all the same, right? Every food on the earth that God created is all divided into three macronutrients or four. You have vegetables, you have protein. Now, vegetables are a little different because they contain sometimes a lot of everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
the main macronutrients are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So wherever you're eating, whether you're eating in Australia, Cameroon, South Africa, or in America, you're eating one of these things. They are just
Mm.
packaged differently,
Mm.
right? So it starts with actually basic knowledge of what I'm eating.
Mm.
What's this food, this thing I'm eating right now? Is it a carbohydrate? Is it fat? Or is it protein?
Mm.
And in the booklet, the African Diet Guide I was telling you about, I've separated these foods into those categories so that when you open it, you can see and say, okay, I'm about to eat a plate of fufu and eru, right? What is fufu? It's carbohydrates,
Yeah.
starches. There's no fat there, nothing else. If you just cook it the way it is, unless you eat like gari, which was fried with palm oil, I think it's palm oil. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has fat. But straight up cassava, water fufu, for instance, it's all starches. If you turn to the eru itself, it's going to be primarily vegetables, right? The nitum
Water leaves. Mm-hmm.
and then you have the water leaf, with the eru. And then your meats, whatever meat you put in there is going to be a protein-based meat.
Mm-hmm.
Palm oil will be the fat.
Mm. Mm.
So So basically, so I try to train people to look at food and know what is in it. If you take corn chaff, right,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be corn, it's going to be beans,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be palm oil or
Mm.
whatever oil you use. So you have three macronutrients in there. If you take koki, for instance, koki beans,
Yeah, okay, beans.
it's all beans and palm oil.
Hmm.
So if you take plantains, it's all starches. Cassava, all starches. Cocoyams, all starches. Um, if you're going to drink Gary with, what do we do? Gary,
Sugar. Mm.
sugar, and then you put
Granite.
granite in it.
Mm-hmm.
Granite is all starches, and then you have some protein and fats in because groundnuts are nuts. And then the Gary is all starches plus fats. And then you drop in some more sugar, and it's all sugar, it's all
Oh,
starch.
wow.
And so those are things that, because if you do not know these things, the problem, you raised a question earlier that somebody asked you, is it that African food makes us gain weight? No,
Mm-hmm.
the way we eat African foods is what makes us gain weight.
Ah, you can say that again. That is awesome. The way we eat the African foods make us gain weight. And I think to me, the revelation to my audience would be that all foods are the same, be they from Africa or Europe, because I always think that, oh, this is African food. So I will avoid eating two pieces of pizza and go eat a bowl of fufu and eru, thinking because it's African food, I'm safe.
Excellent. Wonderful. Yes.
I
That
love this.
that's the problem. It is all foods, regardless of wherever it came from, can make you gain weight.
Mm.
You lose weight. I will tell you the way I eat fufu and eru. I'm banging, that doesn't come. My middle name is Eno. There's no better fufu and eru eater than me. I get a large plate of eru with all the goodies, the meat, and what we call it in Cameroon, you must know, when you put a lot of meat, the particulars.
The particular, yeah. The obstacles.
Obstacles, exactly. And then I get a small amount of fufu because I'm not really, like, has anybody ever sat down and said, I ate 2 lumps of fufu and the fufu was wonderful? No,
The
everybody,
eru is wonderful.
the eru is what's wonderful. So I eat a ton of the eru and I get a small amount of fufu because if you eat a large plate of eru, which was cooked with a reasonable, and I say reasonable amount of palm oil, you don't want to eat eru where palm oil is. We said in Cameroon, the eru is, the palm oil is lo eru fait le sous-marin. That, the, the eru is like a submarine and everything is palm oil. Now, I think even my forefathers who
They will
rebelled,
be mad at you like that's not what it is.
that's not how you make eru. So you want you a reasonable amount of palm oil and you eat all of that and it's fantastic. Right there, you have a weight loss diet.
Wow. You know
If you,
what I do?
mm-mm.
I eat my eru with carrot or cucumber fufu. So I
Carrot,
extract the juice and I
okay.
use the pulp, I reblend it, I sieve it and use the blended pulp, add some psyllium husk and some ground sesame seeds, and I make fufu out of it. So
Oh,
then
wow.
it's
That's a
wonderful. I don't
vegetable
feel,
fufu.
go ahead.
That's a vegetable fufu.
Yes, and it's all what's the word? It's all roughage, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then I enjoy it because I realize that when I eat a little bit of gari or the fufu itself from cassava, I feel heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel heavy. So I devised this method of doing that. And so that's the only thing that I can think I have control over in the fridge. Because nobody touches my food. They think it's nasty. And I enjoy it. And talking about the fridge, so Dr. Mercy says on Facebook that thinking how if I have the executive power, my eyes do not have the power at all, then my mouth. One of my friends said her exercise is hand to mouth, so it's hard for her to not eat.
Right.
But that's good to know that you can enjoy your bowl of eru and some fufu, and then you're still on the track of losing the weight. What about if we, instead of learning how to not eat certain things, what if we just measure what we eat? So you have a cup, I mean, a real cup that you use for baking, and you use that
Mm-hmm.
as a measuring, bowl for everything you eat. Would that do it? Say if I want to eat my fufu and eru, I put a cup of fufu, a cup of eru. I don't care how much oil is in there. Would that do it too? Just measuring what you eat.
That's a
That's it.
fantastic idea. If you remember in the book, I said, my motto is if it
Yeah,
fits, eat it.
yeah,
If it fits your daily calorie
yeah.
budget, go ahead and
If
eat
it
it.
fits it, eat it.
Yes. No food, in my method, there's no food is prohibited.
Yeah.
You should eat everything. And I say somewhere in the book too that you can move to Mars to lose weight, right? And
Yeah.
then come back to Earth. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to lose weight in your current condition, your current
Mm-hmm.
circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and you make an excellent point. When it comes to weight loss, you have to start out with knowing what portion is
Yeah.
to know that you have to learn to weigh food,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you know what is one serving of fufu?
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at what type of fufu is it? Is it
Mm-hmm.
cassava? All right, that's all starches.
Mm-hmm.
80 calories per serving. How many servings? So you weigh it. And at least if you live in America, even in Cameroon, last time I went to Cameroon, I took a trip to stores and I tried to find out if you had calorie counts on food,
Some
packed
do.
food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And many of them had them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can do that if you're gonna fry dodo, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, you get the plantains, weigh it, And okay, this is starch. It's how many grams of plantain? 800 grams. Okay, do the math. It's 44 calories per gram. Multiply that, gives you the total amount of calories in those plantains. Factor in the oil you're going to use to fry. Preferably, you can use non-stick. You have the 0 calorie non-stick
Yeah.
oils that you can use.
Yeah. You can
And
even
you
use to
use them
spray your
on.
pan and fry your egg. Yeah.
Exactly,
That's
you can use that to fry eggs. There are many things, and all of that you start. If you do this consistently for three,
hmm
it will become second nature.
That's right.
Because certain foods, I know, okay, I know how many calories are in that, so I'm just going to eat this small amount, right? There are many gems in African that actually it is easier. If you ask me, in my experience, you will probably find an easier time losing weight on an African diet than you would on a typical Western diet.
hmm
You can eat pepper soup 3 times a day.
Absolutely. Yeah. hmm hmm I think one of the things that make us gain the weight on the African diet is the way we eat, like you say, on anything. So if you have a book on diet from a Western world, they'll tell you that salad is a dish, right? That's a meal. But in our African culture, after eating my before I ate, I say, oh, now it's salad time. So you're adding on to something that you already had. So we need to distinguish that it's a meal, even though it's grass, like they say,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cow food. And Dr. Messi said sometimes it gets easier not to restrict, but practice portion control. I totally agree. Portion control is very important. Yeah, and it becomes second nature when you do that.
Yep. It is
When
a
you
more
do that.
distinctive, I would say the biggest thing that separates us in America from people in other parts of the world, especially Western Europe, is our portion sizes.
hmm
We have a misconstrued idea of
Yeah.
portion, you know.
Of large and extra large, and you go to the extra large at McDonald's, you're wondering, why do I have to have this extra large? I took my kid to see a movie the other day. I said, small, please, popcorn. They're like, Mom, I'm like, take the small one.
Exactly. Or go through Five Guys and ask them for fries, and you'll see what will happen. They will give you enough fries for you to eat for the next month, you know. So it's really portion. Dr. Mercy is very right. When it comes to weight loss, portion control. And that is where learning to weigh your food, knowing the calorie content of food comes in, because why would you use smaller portions? It's because you know
Mhm,
that if you eat a small amount of fufu, it's going
mhm,
to be 150 calories. If you take three
mhm.
lumps, it's going to be 450 calories.
Yeah, yeah. But now, doctor, let's talk to our mothers. I mean, my mother cannot count calories like I would count calories. So if she wants to enjoy her food, if I want to help her and say, you should eat like this instead of like that, because she will never know how to count the calories. Like, what do you tell that mother from Africa who is here faced with all this abundance of food in the fridge? What do you tell them how do you tell them to eat to control their weight?
So the first thing I would say is for them to use small plates,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially carbs. Now, carbs get a bad name not because they are necessary. Carbs are an essential, fuel for the body.
Mm-hmm.
I recall in the book, I say carbohydrates are fuel for the body, fats are an energy store for the body, and protein are the building blocks of the body, structural proteins, and the architects of the body, the functional proteins. So
Mm-hmm.
carbs are important. But the problem is that when people come from Africa, and I'm going to use a gross generalization, so
Mm-hmm.
people should not kill me because I'm speaking to the general public. Doesn't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority of people, and they come from Africa, come here and, you see things that back in Cameroon were luxuries,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I was a kid growing up in Yaoundé, you could only get a croissant if you went to Calafatas or Acropole, then, expensive boulangeries where nobody ever went, or bakeries. And so when people come here and they see all of this and it's at home, readily available, they tend to indulge.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you want to do again is purge the house of these indulgences. The second thing is you want to get small plates. Tell the mother, Mommy, take small plate when you want chop rice. Okay. You don't need to put that rice all inside the pot. chop up,
I saute.
right? Take small plates, put it in a small bowl.
Mhm,
Fufu, small bowl. Cocoyams, small bowl. Plantains, small bowls, because those are the things that make people gain excess weight.
mhm.
Remember, we don't come from a culture where we are big meat eaters because meat is expensive,
Yeah.
right? We tend to eat a lot of, if you look at our diets, the things that make us gain weight are the things that are readily available. Koki corn,
Mhm, mhm,
koki. See, you eat koki with plantains. That's a
mhm,
double whammy.
mhm,
You eat cocoyams with koki. You
mhm.
eat bobolo, which with roasted fish.
Yeah,
That's you just turn roasted fish, which is a fantastic meal, into a high calorie meal with two
yeah.
bobolo.
Whoa.
Those are the things that you have to. So you have to even educate uh, the mother or the father who came from Cameroon or anywhere else in Africa about these healthy habits.
Mhm,
Right? So it's a global thing. It's something that happens in the whole house. Everyone
mhm.
learns to eat like that because um, those are the things, and especially for them again, because a lot of time when they come here, they don't have the freedom to move as they did in
Yeah,
Cameroon. Somebody has to
yeah.
take them somewhere. They have to, so you want to make sure that the house does not have things that will make them gain excess weight, because
Mhm.
somebody's mother is sitting at home taking care of a grandchild, and the the pantry is full of croissants and all sorts of pastries. Guess what? When she's bored, she's going to be eating
She's
that.
going to eat, yeah. She's going to eat that. So I'll talk about habits and weight in a second, but let me see what Ruth Lange says on Facebook that I like the fact that no food is prohibited. I eat whatever I like, but in moderation. Starving oneself from delicious foods to lose weight leads to anger and resentment and ends up giving up. But
Right?
that's true. America's only hungry, so you get hungry and
It's very true. It makes you very hungry.
it makes you very hungry. Well, we're talking about Dr. Takem's book today, Intentional Weight Loss, your 5-step guide to transform your body and recapture your glow. I recommend this book. It is very, very good for you to read. There are worksheets in there that I am using. They are so good. So please get yours on Amazon. Let's talk about habits and weight. What is the correlation between these two things, alcohol and weight gain?
So alcohol, I think I made a Facebook video a while ago about the beer belly, how it's a fiction, it's a myth, the word beer belly,
Mhm,
because it doesn't really exist. We might as well call it an alcohol belly.
mhm,
So beer, whiskey, brandy, gin, all of that, they all contain calories. At the bottom of it all, whatever the amount, the type of alcohol you're consuming, when it gets to your liver, it all turns into ETOH, chemical name for it, right? That's what your liver sees. Now, the problem with alcohol is that it does a couple of things. When people drink, you know, we all get a little bit more disinhibited, right?
mhm,
And if you had wonderful weight loss goals, all of a sudden you got to Cancun on vacation,
mhm,
there's alcohol, it's all you can eat and,
mhm,
and drink. Guess what? You'll be drinking and eating.
mhm,
You're going to gain weight. And because alcohol creates a fun environment where people let their guard down and they tend to overeat.
mhm,
Second thing is that alcohol itself contains calories, right? Which a lot of time people don't really realize the amount of calories in alcohol. A beer, if you take a Heineken or a Stella, any one of these beers, are
mhm.
usually about 150 calories per bottle, the small,
Yeah.
3cc bottle. If you go into other beers like IPA beers, people who like craft beers, they tend to have a high amount of calories.
Mhm,
If you drink liquor, a lot of time an ounce is about 70, 80 calories, depending on the proof. If you take 2 ounces, which is usually equates to a shot, that is 140, 150 calories right there. Now, I know many people who take multiple shots at
Yes.
a time,
Yes. And they
right?
are proud of it.
Exactly. So you could easily, you could easily drink 1,000 calories worth of alcohol without even realizing it. And very often, alcohol of all evils when it comes to weight gain.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just the alcohol. It's alcohol has a lot of calories and it also makes us. I do not know anybody who's been drinking all night who at some point says, I want a salad. No, you're gonna add for something calorie dense, something that makes you feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's really the problem with alcohol.
Wow. Now, another habit and weight question, stress and weight gain. What's the correlation?
Well, stress is bad for weight gain because, when you are stressed out, there is a component of one, some people
Mm-hmm.
deal with emotional eating, right? When they are stressed out, they
Mm-hmm.
eat more. When you are stressed out, you let your guard down. You don't want to, if you had promised yourself that you're going to eat 1,200 calories every day
Mm-hmm.
of the week, all of a sudden you are stressed out, you get this work deadline to meet, you have all these notes to write, you have all
Mm-hmm.
this. And guess what? When you're stressed out running around, you let your guard down. You're going
Yeah.
to, get Uber Eats or order something from a restaurant. By and large, we never order a salad. Have you ever ordered a salad?
I don't, just because I think that it's not cooked. I feel like I need to eat what is cooked so that I know the germs are dead. So I don't like to order salad in restaurant.
I've never ordered a salad. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
If I'm
That's
going
my
to
reason though, not
salad,
because I don't eat salad. Because I think like, who made this? Did they wash their hands?
no, I think you're better than the rest of us. If I'm gonna order, it's not gonna be a salad. It's gonna be something good, So, and when people are stressed out, you tend to do all
Yeah,
these things. So stress is not good for a wide variety of reasons, and it's especially not good for weight loss because of that component of emotional,
right.
you know.
And stress could lead to a bad habit like smoking. Is there a correlation between smoking and weight gain?
Um, no, not that
Okay.
we know of, but there is a correlation paradoxically between weight gain and smoking cessation.
Mm,
10 people who lose weight or people who stop smoking
mm-hmm,
to gain weight, but it's not because the body makes you want to gain weight. It's because,
mm,
uh, for a lot of people, they replace the action of smoking with something else.
mm-hmm,
Something else is usually snacking or eating something,
mm,
you know.
mm-hmm.
People tend to gain weight after they stop smoking.
That's right.
Smoking in and of itself does not have any specific correlation with weight gain.
Okay. I have a question about exercise. Before I do that, let me see what Facebook said. Community says, like everything else, I think that the healthy food journey has to be seen in the power of lenses of discipline and routine. That's grammar.
Yes. Ye-
Yeah. So you got that lenses of discipline and routine. Now let me read from your book here. You say that think of exercise as an activity instead of a workout. The more you do, the more you move your body throughout the day, the better for your health. For the most part, where you perform your activities doesn't matter as long as you are listening to your body and losing and doing activities that are safe for you. And you say, keep in mind that your diet makes up most of your weight loss. Exercise is an aid that will help you lose the weight faster, increase your metabolism, and keep you healthy. Does that mean that I don't really need to exercise to lose weight? I could just, it's just an added advantage, but I could still lose weight without exercising?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I will even take it a step further.
Mm-hmm.
I know I talk a lot about exercise in the book, but I always tell patients exercise actually is useless for weight.
Mm,
If you want to look great in a shirt, exercise,
mm,
lift weights. If you want to lose weight, get a treadmill or an elliptical.
Mm.
If you want to lose a lot of weight,
Mm-hmm.
fix your diet.
Fix your diet.
You don't, yes, the practical importance of exercise when it comes to weight loss is really minimal. I can give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Give you an example. Let's say you wake up every day, you work out and burn 500 calories, which
Mm-hmm.
helps, right? After 7 days, you would have burned 3,500 calories.
Mm-hmm.
By and large, a pound of fat contains 3,500 calories. Now, there are some variations, genetic variations on how we burn energy and all of that. But for the sake of argument, that would mean in 1 week, you may have burned 1 pound
Mm.
of fat. On the contrary, if every day you subtract 500 calories from your diet,
Mm-hmm.
over 7 days, you would have subtracted 3,500 calories.
Right.
You still lose a pound of fat,
Mm.
right? Now, and then depending on your resting metabolic rate, for a lot of people, they can't even, most people cannot even go consistently to the gym 7 days a week.
No.
I would say 99% of people can't. If you know somebody who can, tell me, I'll clap for them.
Yeah.
But I can't. I
Yeah.
have life.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Even though I said that, I remember I said I try to work out 5 days a week. And
Yeah.
so if I can't, I make it over the weekend because life happens. I might come someday late. I
You're
might
right.
wake up in the morning, I'm sick. Somebody is sick. I can, or I'm in a rush because I have to get to the office early. Something happened. Life happens. So
Mm-hmm.
exercise is notoriously unreliable.
Yeah.
The most biggest thing you can rely on is fixing your diet because that
Mm.
depends wholly on you.
Mm. So is it safe to say that it is 80% what you eat and 20% your exercise that will help you lose weight?
Yes, it is 80% what you eat. I mean, again, exercise, where exercise is really most important? I would say it's when you're trying to maintain your weight.
Mm.
That's the best place. That's the best place to exercise. When it comes to just weight loss,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm always amused when I see all these shows on TV, my 600-pound life and all of that. And they
Mm-hmm.
give them the diet plan and they start working on and all of that. And you see these poor souls, and I'm asking, like, why are you being tortured like that?
Yeah.
First off, if you weigh 650 pounds, it's a lot of weight to move the treadmill. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You're better off sitting back, fix your diet. And if you weigh 600 pounds and you start eating 2,000 calories a day, guess what? You're going to lose probably 10 pounds a week because there's so much fat to get rid of. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
bigger you are, the higher your resting metabolic rate.
Mm.
People always say, some people say, I gained weight because my metabolism is slow. No, the bigger you are, faster your metabolism because your body is trying to get rid of this excess fat. And so the bigger you are, the less the need for you to even exercise to lose. Because if you just cut back on the amount of calories you take, you will lose an astronomical amount of weight quickly.
That's a revelation. Wow.
So I'm
I
glad to
I
hear.
love to hear that. Now, let's talk about weight and genes and genetics, right? In your book, you talk about two sisters, Rachel and Mel. This story I read like I'm like, wait, what? Anyway, Rachel is overweight and Mel she has a slim body. Now, these are two sisters, okay? Two different body types. One is basically struggling with her weight. The other one is not. Dr. Takem, does
Mm.
genetics play tricks on us when it comes to body weight?
Not as much as we think.
Mm.
Going back to the story of Mel and Rachel, if you look at it, it's really a story of you can tell that Mel and I picked the two pictures, very intentionally. Mel is somebody who enjoys being the life of the
Being
party.
seen, yeah, she likes, yeah.
So consequently, you can expect that she makes healthy food choices. She wants to be adored. She's
Mm-hmm.
sort of a diva. You have people who are like that. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows somebody like that, in their life. And then her sister struggles. She's not temperamentally like Mel. She is more reserved, even though she's also smart, but she's not the life of the party. She's not the one everybody wants to be like. And so she develops emotional eating over time. So
Mm-hmm.
the story is really about one developing emotional eating because of these stressors, competing with her sister. But going back to your question about genetics is important. Some we know some families have just have a propensity towards obesity, gaining
Yeah.
weight. But your environment is much more important than the genes, because at the end of the day, even if your family has a tendency to gain weight, if you eat 1,000, 1,200 calories a day or 1,400 calories a day, you're not going to gain weight,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm going to go a little physics on you. The first and second law of thermodynamics says energy can neither be created nor destroyed, can only be transformed from one form to the other.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot create fat in your body without eating. You have to give your body the food. Even if your genes are predisposing you to gaining weight, if you don't eat too much for your energy needs, you cannot gain weight.
Mm-hmm. So, real story, I know twin girls.
Mm-hmm.
One is heavier, the other one is so tiny. The tiny one is in gymnastics, doing kind of thing. The heavier one can't even do anything. Now, doesn't this tell me that sometimes genetics trick us in the way that we gain weight or lose weight?
Well, one is in gymnastics, right?
Before even, okay, so let me back up. Before even getting to gymnastics, that's how they grew up. And
Mm-hmm.
they should be like 12, 13 years old now. So from birth, one has been this tiny, the other is this big. Why? They eat the same foods. So the thin one is in gymnastics, the other one is like, oh, I can't do it. Just like Mel and her sister can't do anything because I'm big. So why is genetics doing that to people?
Well, I wouldn't say genetics is doing that to people because the one who's big, right? If you take her and tie her to a chair and only give her water for a month,
She will lose the weight.
she'll lose the weight, right?
Mm.
So genetics might be important, but as I said earlier, if you don't give your body, because what is fat actually?
Mm-hmm.
Fat is a storage form of energy, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. Now it has some metabolic effects, produces adipokines and some hormones. Um, but for the vast majority of its existence, fat is the storage form of energy.
Yeah.
And you would not store energy if you didn't have excess energy. Well, sorry.
That's fine. While you check your phone, if you're just joining, this is Talk to Me Africa, and we are dissecting this book by Dr. Takem. It's called Intentional Weight Loss, your 5-step guide to transform your body and recapture your glow. You can get a copy on Amazon. It tells you how to get started, how you can start losing weight. Actually, the 5 steps are very easy to follow. I'll give you exactly what they are at the end of the show. Continue, Dr. Takem.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, for all of us, whenever we gain weight, you have to view it exclusively as I gave my body more calories than it needed. So my body
Mm,
turned the excess into fat. That's why I gained weight. Now, regardless of the underlying mechanism, whether it's because your thyroid is low, that too is very rare, but
mhm.
accused very often of causing weight gain, or whether it's because you don't move enough, or because you have a sedentary job, or because you sit at the desk all day. Every time we gain weight, it's because the body receives more calories than it needed
We can process.
into fat.
Oh, wow. I like that. The story that I also like in your book, the story about Sally. Sally, who uses a restrictive diet and soon finds out that she needs to sustain that lifestyle in order to get it to maintain the weight. when we look around, we have so many different diets that come up every day. You have ketogenic diet, Jenny Craig, and all that stuff. Is that so? These weight loss programs are preaching to us, the entire world, that hey, you doesn't matter where you come from, you can do this and lose weight. Is that a one size fit all when it comes to weight loss diet, weight loss programs? Is there a one size fit all?
No, weight loss is definitely not a one size fit all, but the solution fits everybody,
Okay.
right?
Not a one size fit all, but a solution can fit everybody.
Everybody. And a
Right.
low calorie diet can fit everybody. And because if you look at it, right, a lot of the diets, be it Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, ketogenic diet, the South Beach diet, the blood type diet, which I'll be talking about in a
The
few
Atkins
seconds.
diet, there are too many.
Yeah, the Atkins diet. They are all strategies to reduce the amount of food you eat.
Mm.
That's what they are at the basis, right? The ketogenic diet limits the amount of carbohydrates you eat. You eat a lot of protein and fat, and then you force your body to use fat for energy, right? They are all tricks, the Atkins diet, the Weight Watchers, they are all ways to limit the amount of calories you eat. And so the problem is that many often people cannot stay on the diets.
Mm.
If you are Cameroonian or you're Nigerian or Ghana and you get on the Atkins diet, after a while, you want to eat fufu and eel. You want to eat bangtan,
Absolutely.
right? It doesn't fit that diet. If you're doing an intermittent fasting diet plan and you are a high-powered executive, and you have meetings and you've got cocktails after hours, and you get there at 8 p.m., but you're supposed to stop eating at 6 p.m., guess what? You're not going to follow that plan
Mm.
and do it for a month or two. After that, you'll give up. So a lot of these diet plans do not, the reason why they don't, it's not, weight loss should not be a one size fits all is because people have different needs in life.
Mm.
Not everybody who's trying to lose weight has the same type of job, the same social situation. Some people have kids, some people are married, some people are single, some people have friends, some people don't have friends. And so you have to find something that works for you, something you can do all the time. That's
Mhm.
why I am very big on calorie consciousness. Because if you're calorie conscious, you can do that anywhere, regardless of where you are.
That's good. And also don't try to avoid your foods because, like you say, if I go on some diet that I'm not to eat my rice or my fufu and eru and my plantain, after
Mhm.
a month I'll be like, I miss plantain. So stick with your plantain, but watch how much you eat,
Exactly.
which is
Exactly
great.
my point. Yeah.
Wow, we have two more topics to go, age and weight loss, and then I'll ask you about the easy way out, which is, surgery for weight loss these days. But talking about age and weight loss, why do most people, especially females, find it hard to lose weight after 40? You talk about that a lot. If you can just regurgitate that for us again, because it is tough now. I look at childbirth, for example, it makes women gain weight, like you've said, and all that. But what
Mhm.
about a woman who had never had a child? And after 40, something still goes on. I can't lose the weight. Something has slowed down. Is it because we all go through menopause that makes us just get stuck at a certain point as women? You have a couple got married and as young adults, they were all the same size, but now the woman is like this, the man is like this tiny. Why is it that bad for women?
Well, anyways, we talked earlier about why women in their 40s tend to gain weight. We'll come back to that. But remember, there's also one thing which I didn't talk about earlier, but I will start with women in their 40s, and which I noticed a lot. Remember, women in their 40s compared to women in their 20s tend to have more money, right? You would
Mm-hmm.
agree. They're
Yeah.
more career professionals,
Mm-hmm.
making good money,
More focus, yeah.
great jobs,
Driven.
right? And they tend to want to enjoy life.
Mm.
People in their 40s tend to go to Cancun and Punta
Drink
Cana
the
and
wine.
Tahiti more often than people in their 20s.
Mm.
They have more disposable income. They can enjoy the good things of life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have all of that, it's hard to want to lose weight. It's harder to put in because I do a lot of, when I put accounts for weight loss, they come and see me every month or some people every 2 weeks. And so I always ask these questions. What happened? Why did you lose? Why didn't you lose this weight? What happened? And you can find that in people who are older in their 40s,
Mm-hmm.
just don't have time for weight loss.
Mm.
They have life to enjoy.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like, Masa, how old again? I don't be no. Let me that talk. Let me enjoy my life because
Exactly.
it's
Some
almost
people,
it's almost passing me by. And one thing we find today is a lot of medications for weight loss, surgery for weight loss is becoming a thing where people just seem to accuse you for having done something, even if you are not. Me, for example, I would say I have lost some weight recently, and somebody saw a picture of me on the red carpet. They go, "Hey, you don't take Ozempic?" I'm like, no. So, what do you think about this easy way out to lose weight, surgeries and medication?
okay, excellent. Now, I have breaking news for you, Mabel. There is really no way out when it comes to weight loss. And I am a big fan of these medications, the weight loss surgeries, medications, because it's for some people, and I generally see that a lot in people who weigh more than 250 pounds, 300 pounds.
Mhm,
It is very hard for them to lose weight. It's
mhm,
hard to
mhm.
eat right.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of quote unquote bad habits accumulated over time. They need help. And even if you're smaller than that, I think the fantastic things, and I'm going to talk about weight loss medicines, but and then weight loss surgery, but they kind of do the same thing. They are all ways of restricting the amount of food that we eat, right? Ozempic, we
For
let me,
Goldie.
I'm not going to use the
Yeah, let's
because
just
I shouldn't, because I'm a doctor. The semaglutide, tirzepatide, they all do something. They work in the brain, decreasing the hunger sensation, and in your stomach, delaying gastric emptying. What does that mean? It makes you not want to eat a lot. Same with weight loss surgery, sleeve gastrectomy. They cut your stomach out, so it becomes a small pouch. Bypass surgery, similarly, cut the stomach, reroute food, and also affects digestion. And so these are all strategies to decrease the amount of calories getting to your liver so your liver doesn't have to turn it into fat. Now, it is commonly viewed as the easy way out, but it's not.
okay.
Because I know a lot of patients who take this, whom I prescribe these medications, who still don't lose weight. They don't get to their goal. I know many patients who've had bariatric surgery have initially lost 50 pounds, then they stalled, and then they regained the weight. You understand? There is really, when it comes to weight loss, there is no easy way out.
Mhm.
Whatever the strategy you use to lose weight, you will have to still maintain a low calorie diet. Because, can I give you an example?
Sure.
If you have bariatric surgery and you have a sleeve gastrectomy, right? Guess what's going to happen? You might not be able to eat an 18-ounce steak, but you can drink 3 milkshakes,
Ah, yeah. So the
right?
liquid. Mm-hmm.
You can eat your liquid calories. You can eat
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pastries. Carbohydrates, carbs tend to glide through those things. So you might restrict your stomach, but you can figure out a way to eat through it. So if you're not diligent and you're not committed to the process, you will still either not lose the weight or gain weight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there is really no way out. But by and large, I am a big fan of these medications because I know many people whom they have
Who
helped.
need it?
I'm a big fan of weight loss surgeries because I know many persons who have, turned their lives
Who
around.
need it? Yeah.
But it is not a
It's not
panacea.
an easy way out.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he has to do the work. Dr. Messi says our minds try to pick the easier routes. It is really, is it really easier? Looks like we prefer side effects of medications when practicing discipline. So if those some of those medications are to, trick your brain, so don't eat at this time. Is there a way for me to normally work with you and you help me trick my brain now for me to take the medication? I can I not do that? Some kind of, I don't know. Help me.
Well, there are people who do that. I mean,
Mm.
but the vast majority of people who lose weight don't take medications,
Mm-hmm.
right? Many, many people lose weight with discipline. They eat less, they exercise,
Mm-hmm.
but they start with eating a whole lot less.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this a lot too. There are many people
Yeah,
successful just by restricting the amount of calories.
right.
And so that is still the old fashioned way. The medicines are just an adjunct. Either way, you still have to restrict the amount of calories you eat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And you are a testament to that because you did lose a lot of weight. When I look at this picture of you in this book, I was like, wow, that is just looking at, I'm like, it's very motivating, people. You have to get and read this book from by Dr. Takem. Now, to end the show, let's play a little game here. Um, Tell me which of the below is a healthier alternative to go for. White rice, brown rice.
the same.
Okay.
And
We
the
don't need,
reason,
we don't need to explain. It's just a game. So you can find out for yourself, people.
okay,
Beans or corn?
the same.
The same. Wow. Chicken or fish?
Fish, if the chicken is skinless,
All
but
right.
chicken is
Right.
if the chicken is skinless, they are the same. If the chicken has skin, then I'll prefer fish.
Okay. Brown sugar, white sugar.
The same.
Palm oil, vegetable oil.
The same.
You know,
And
my
we're talking
daughter's
about weight
8.
loss, right?
Yeah. My daughter's 8. She asked me a question. She said, Mom, does vegetable have oil?
Does vegetable have oil?
Yeah.
No.
Because we were baking and she brought her vegetable oil. And she's like, does vegetable have oil? Because I eat broccoli, I don't see oil. I'm like, oh my goodness. I have no idea where this oil comes from. So what should I tell her?
Well, that's a very smart question. I mean, it's because these vegetable oils are so called because they're extracted from the seeds of these vegetables, like
Okay.
bean oil, uh, peanut oil. Um, uh, I blank now. Can't remember all of them, but they are extracted from the seeds of the oil.
That's helpful. Because she and I were looking at leaves,
Really
like,
from the vegetable. It's not
okay,
from the leaves. Yeah.
that's helpful.
Mhm.
Dr. Takem, I am so glad you could make it here today. I give you an assignment to bring an African proverb. Before we get to that, somebody who's watching and wants to learn about their weight and they want to start taking some steps to help them lose or maintain their weight, I would advise me for you to get this book on Amazon. Worksheet number 8 is my favorite. You know, it has a date beginning, your weight loss goals, your ending weight, and also the goal that you've met. And then also worksheet number 9. I really like that one. I love trying some clothes that I did not think I would fit in before. You know, we future buy sometimes, we women. So I like this dress. I'll lose 10 pounds to wear next time. So I like that about worksheet number 9. And so, people, Dr. Takem has this wonderful book. The 5 steps are start, slim, shape, shine, and star. So, for somebody who wants to kickstart their weight loss journey or weight gain journey, not weight gain, weight maintenance journey, what will you say to them?
What I'll say to them, first of all, is get the book. As you said,
Absolutely.
the
Mm,
5 steps are crucial to
yeah,
losing your weight. And then the fifth step, which is a star, is crucial in maintaining your weight. The second thing I would say is be intentional. That's why I titled the book Intentional Weight Loss.
that's a key word.
Yes, you have to be intentional. It's not weight loss, is not something that happens. It's not a byproduct or it's not something that happens by chance. You have to be intentional about your food. You have to know what you eat, why you eat it. But the most importantly, you have to be intentional about your goals. Why do you want to lose weight? I cover this in the start step, knowing your why. That to me is the most important question, because if you can answer that question, it will help you not only lose weight but also maintain your weight for long term.
Excellent. I would say a picture, they say, is worth 1,000 words. When I looked at the picture that you have of yourself while you were in residency, I go, wow. So even if you want to
Exactly.
doubt the book, you just look at the picture, you go, he did it. So what he's saying in here is definitely true. So before I let you go, do you have an African proverb to share with us on Talk to Me Africa today?
Oh yes, I do, and it's from my favorite African author, Chinua Achebe, and he said in one of the books, I believe it's Things Fall Apart, that when trouble comes knocking and you tell him there is no seat, he always tells you, "Don't worry, I brought my own stool."
Wow.
And this has taught me over time that adversity is a part of life. It will happen. The most important thing is how we respond to that adversity that matters.
Mhm. Awesome.
because
Thank you
trouble always comes
so
with its own stool.
much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you open yourself to Facebook to teach us for free. Each time I'm on Facebook Live with you, I'm like, this is free knowledge. I don't take it for granted. So please follow him on Facebook, subscribe to the channel, and there are more information, very important information coming on how we can eat to maintain or to lose weight. Thank you for being on Talk to Me Africa today. The pleasure was immense. Thank you, Dr. Takem.
It was my pleasure, Mabel. And I thank your viewers for watching.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching and have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.